She says, well, hey, we don't care. But both of you are welcome to air your thoughts right here on Ringside Politics. You can blow your horn or shoot that bird, but face it, will that really make any difference? No. What really bugs you, we want to hear from you. And Ringside Politics, call us at 556-9696.
Hey, welcome back. We'll take some more of your calls in a minute at 504-556-9696. But we want to bring on a special guest who is joining us now. His name is Dan McKnight. He is chairman of Bring Our Troops Home. And Dan, welcome to the Ringside Politics program. Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Jeff. How are you?
Very good. So, Dan, one of the issues I think that we should be looking at foremost in this presidential campaign is the issue of endless wars, the issue of whether our troops should be brought home from a war that's been going on now 19 years. It really hasn't been much of an issue, though. Why do you think it's sort of not been at the forefront?
Well, I think because 85% of the people that authorized the war to begin with are no longer serving in Congress. You know, in 19 years, a majority of the people that signed that authorization of use of force aren't even here to answer the people. But we finally have a president that is doing what needs to be done to bring us home from these endless and ridiculous wars. And he ran on a campaign promise of doing that. And he signed the Doha deal, and he's promised to have our troops home by Christmas. And the major media is not picking up on it. And I think it's because America has fallen asleep at the wheel in matters of foreign policy.
And we really have. I mean, there's finally going to be foreign policy discussed in this upcoming debate, but it really has been a silent issue, Dan. We haven't seen it much in these other debates.
None at all. In World War II, Jeff, 11% of the adult population of the country served in the military. Today, that number is less than 0.5%. So 99.5% of our population literally has no skin in the game when it comes to these endless wars. And that's why it's not an issue that's at the front of every major news cycle. The fact that we have young Marines and sailors and soldiers and airmen that are fighting in a war today that started before they were born should be the scandal of our lifetime. But it doesn't get any mention because literally nobody has skin in the game because we're an all-volunteer force now.
Dan McKnight with us, and he's chairman of Bring Our Troops Home, a nonprofit group dedicated to ending the endless wars. I support your mission completely. I'd love to see all of these wars end. And I think President Trump wants to do it, but Dan, he's faced a lot of opposition from the military.
Not just the military, but members inside of his own party, the War Hawk neocon faction, the Liz Cheneys, the people like that, the Lindsey Grahams that would perpetuate endless wars as long as they're in office. But, we're in Pennsylvania today. Our organization is in a swing district, Pennsylvania 6th. It's represented by a veteran Air Force, Chrissy Houlihan, a Democrat, who just recently signed the National Defense Authorization Act and an amendment to that act by Liz Cheney that strips all money away from President Trump that he would use to bring troops home from Afghanistan. Think about that for a minute. Congress is actively taking away money that is specifically used to redeploy troops home from a war. So he's fighting not only the military-industrial complex, members of his own party, the Democrats, the media, but he's still doing what's right. He's still doing what's right by our veterans, and he's fighting to bring them home from these forever wars. And we're in Pennsylvania today on the 19th anniversary of the first military boots on the ground in Afghanistan. 200 Army Rangers jumped into Afghanistan out of C-130s on today, 19 years ago, and started the invasion. And we're here today to honor those Marines at the grave of the great Marine Corps General Smedley Butler, who was a peace activist after his time in the military. And we're gathering here today to say enough is enough. And it's time for us to stand up and tell our congressional leaders.
The website, folks, is bringourtroopshome.us, and I support your mission completely, Dan. And I hope this event is a big success, and I hope you're able to galvanize more and more Americans behind your effort. I'm afraid that if Joe Biden is elected president, that we're going to see more endless wars, my friend.
I agree. Joe Biden authorized the Iraq war. He was for it before he was against it, before he was for it, before he was against it. He's gone back and forth on it over and over again. But I think you're right. He would keep us in a perpetual state of war, just like the rest of the war hawks on the left and right.
And after 19 years, what good is our troops in Afghanistan? The Taliban is still there. Afghanistan is still pretty much a lawless country. You're still going to have the Taliban, whether we're there or not. And we just need to turn it over to them and say bye and bring our troops home. I mean, I understand why we initially went after 9/11, but when we get into the whole nation building thing, Dan, that's where things go off track.
You're absolutely right. And right now, the mission was accomplished in February of 2002. We killed everybody that attacked us, planned the attacks, aided in the attacks, or captured anybody that harbored them. The mission was done. We should have come home, but President Bush and Dick Cheney took their eye off the prize and sent us to Iraq. And now we're there building schools, roads, water treatment facilities, monitoring their elections when we should be home monitoring our own. You're right, there is no mission there. Our job should be to turn it back over to whatever form of government they choose for themselves. As liberty-minded, freedom-loving members of our own republic, we should honor that desire in their country and pack up and leave.
And then, of course, we've got troops protecting very wealthy nations, and we've got troops all over the place. And many of these countries should be doing more to defend themselves. But, of course, they rely on the American taxpayers to foot the bill, Dan.
You're right. And, right now we've got the global war on terror. We're fighting in 26 countries, actively fighting war operations in 26 countries. And a lot of them are for quote-unquote American interests, but it's not authorized. Congress didn't give us a declaration of war to go fight a nation state. They gave us an authorization of use of force, and that presidents have used that authorization of use of force as a blank check to send us anywhere for any amount of time, for any cost, indefinitely. And finally, President Trump is holding other nations accountable and making them pay for their own defense.
Right.
Bringing troops home from Germany after 70 years. He's doing what he's promised he would do.
We've got a shot of accomplishing this mission, Dan, if President Trump can get reelected to another term. He can start getting in more people in his administration that believe in his agenda. A new defense secretary, I think, is critical. And I think when that happens, we can really see this fulfilled. Otherwise, the endless wars will continue. We got about 30 seconds. Any final words you want to leave with our audience?
Sure. The great Marine Corps General Smedley Butler, he said this. He said there's only two things that we should fight for. One is the defense of our homes, and the other is the Bill of Rights. And I couldn't agree with him more. We have to hold our congressional leaders, I don't even call them leaders, our congressional representatives responsible to their job to safeguard that solemn duty of using the Constitution to properly declare war. If we have oversight from Congress, we won't find ourselves in these endless entanglements.
Dan, good luck to you, sir. Love to have you back on the program, and I think your mission is a great one. And we'll link to your site where people can get more information. Dan McKnight with us here on the Ringside program, chairman of Bring Our Troops Home. All right, we'll squeeze in one more quick call here before we conclude.